All right, welcome back, nerds. Wanted to go over something I was thinking about in the workplace and in general. Gossip. You should definitely be cautious of how much gossip you get involved in the workplace. Um, Obviously, gossip is something that's going to happen from time to time. Some people are able to avoid it just outrightly. Um, but gossip is kind of a normal thing at any kind of a medium to large size company, and I would suggest keeping that to a minimum because what I find, it seems fairly evident to me that what happens when you gossip is you increase the likelihood that you will say or do something that will make you feel weak later. And that right there, that concept of doing or saying anything that will make you feel weak is extremely important. And I want to stress why. Inside of us, there are two wolves. No. Inside of us, there's kind of a counter, if you will, of your wins and losses, and it will present itself in many ways through the endocrine system and many other things. I'm a layman, so I don't want to get too far into that realm, but I can speak to what I do know, which is that when I engage in gossip or I choose to take the bait and character assassinate somebody or something like that. Let's say I'm right. This person has no character and they deserve to be assassinated or whatever. Not assassinated, but their character assassination. What I find is that even when you're correct, if you let negativity come out of your mouth, it just ends up taking away some of your... I don't know quite how to describe it, but it definitely strikes through if you listen to the inside. A lot of people can just steamroll this shit and they kind of, open their eyes in their 50s or whatever, 40s, maybe never, and then realize that they are the reason that they didn't get where they wanted to go. And it can be from something as simple as engaging in too much gossip. If you get known as a gossip, what happens is it dilutes your skill set. It dilutes what you bring to the table, or it doesn't dilute your skill set. Your skill set remains the same, but the value that you can bring with it, because it just won't be as palatable. People won't really enjoy working with you, just because there's that element of volatility of they're going to be on edge, keeping their words to themselves because it's known that you're a gossip. The other thing on gossip is that unless it's like just superficial, because I don't know, I do think there's some value to gossip a little bit, like maybe in a very closed situation with just like one other person, where if maybe it is actually cathartic to get it off your chest, and it's not something that's actually like making the darkness or the negativity grow. If for you letting it out with a person at your workplace that you can trust, that you feel is kind of like-minded, as long as you feel like that's not some like negative feedback loop where you guys are going to become very toxic, then I think that it probably serves some value. And I've experienced both the unhealthy and the healthy version of gossip. And maybe the healthy version isn't even gossip. Maybe that's, I'm failing to call it what it really is. I don't have a better word for it, though. It strikes me as gossip. But along with that feeling of weakness, and tying back to what I was saying about you kind of have an internal counter, I found that I've often wondered in the past, how come I don't have as much self-esteem as maybe I feel like I should, or as much as other people think I should, because I'm competent, I'm skilled, or whatever the case is. I think sometimes it ties back to letting things out of your mouth that make you feel weak. Don't say or do anything that makes you feel weak. Don't slight others. And to borrow a little bit from Stoicism and Marcus Aurelius, I believe Marcus Aurelius stated somewhere in Meditations, he said, don't ever be, something paraphrasing, don't be overheard complaining, not even to yourself. I'm not Marcus Aurelius, but I do think there's some fruit in that wisdom in just bearing the burden, kind of bear your cross, so to speak. And I hope that this kind of rings true to somebody. I know this one's maybe not tied up perfectly in a nice little package. It was meant to be a shorter video. I might try my hand at editing on this one. I doubt it. But be careful with your words. Be careful with how you're presenting yourself to other people. They are watching, and you're watching. I think that's even probably the more consequential long-term result of gossip. The immediate result would be offending people. You'll kind of like put yourself in your own little silo. But the long-term effects I'm finding, because I used to be a big gossip. This is how I told you, step on rake. I found that it in the long run, it makes you realize that you're kind of a toxic person. And I didn't like that quality about myself. I felt like it was really ugly. And I still struggle with it. I've been caught up in gossip today. And I made this video particularly because of how weak it made me feel. Now, what happened today with me isn't specifically gossip, but I got myself in a delicate situation where I've been privy to private information about some individuals, and this other individual doesn't know that I know, and they want to ask me what I know, and I have to use some professional discretion or whatever the case is. But I kind of realized that I was in a vulnerable position where I can't really navigate that too well without either undermining my integrity or throwing people right under the bus. And so I haven't quite parsed all of it out yet, but what I think I'm going to do moving forward is just be extremely careful about information, even at work, that lets it work, any endeavor. Keep your cards close to your chest. Don't reveal your hand, and pay close attention to what people are telling you. And I think there's probably also some value in not paying attention to some things that people tell you. So what I mean is, like, pay very close attention to what they're saying, and then just be able to categorically rule out some things as just toxic. That it's not really going to help you to know that Bob got a Dewey last week, but HR is covering for him because he's the owner's ex-boyfriend or something. You know what I mean? That was all made up, just to be very clear. But you will do better by staying away from any of that crap. There really isn't much value in it, and you will, if you were honest with yourself, you would probably find that it's just an easy dopamine hit is what it is, because it kind of feels good to hear other people failing sometimes, and I think that that's a very ugly quality within myself, and I'd like to remove that from me. And I think it's going to also help with just staying laser focused on what I want to get done. So it's kind of like the signal to noise. I'll try to wrap this video up. I think that I've made my point. But try to discern what is signal and what is noise. Cut the noise down as much as possible. Focus on the signal. Hope this helps.